Hi, I'm super excited to make this video to tell you that Scheduled is evolving, and not just a little. Over the past 8 weeks, we've completely redeveloped the entire app and user experience, thanks to Nathalie's hard work. We've been working together for over 6 months now, and while the roadmap was being set up, there were other priorities. Well, now we've reached the end of this work with a brand new version that I'll quickly present to you so you can see it in the video and, most importantly, explain the changes and how to get the hang of this new version. This evolution was super important for what's coming next, for all the features we're going to add, to ensure the product doesn't become more complicated and remains just as simple and responsive. So, as I was saying, I'm really excited to show you the result right away. So here it is, as you can see, the brand new version of Scheduled. I'm making this video to really take you through and show you the changes and how it works today. I'll present all of that to you. So when you log into your Scheduled interface, you'll land on the home page. Here, you might find some elements that are carried over from the previous version, like the famous dashboard, this mini dashboard that will gather all your statistics. That hasn't changed. You can still apply a filter for 7 days, 30 days, a year, etc. So that will be there. When you arrive on the home page now, it will really be a summary of all your stats, regardless of the calendar you've added to the Notion database connected with Scheduled. So what we call today are the calendars, even the content calendars, and we will certainly review the wording over time. This is a task we will continue to delve into. To make things simpler, we will also translate this into French. There you go. This will come in the next few weeks, but in any case, the current structure you see won't change for a while, I think. So here, as I was saying, you can filter based on the different calendars you have to filter the stats. This is quite useful if you're in a team and you want to see the combined metrics. This will be possible. Here you will find all your scheduled posts with the different types, times, dates, etc., and especially on which platform your post will be published. So this is really cool. If you work in a team, you will also see if it will be published on this profile or that profile, so that's great. We're going to quickly add a small change here, but the possibility if you click to check that it's indeed the post you planned for Monday the 20th. So here it's not active yet, but it will be a quick improvement. So what's really important in the functioning of Scheduled and why we've revamped everything is to centralize everything around the famous content calendar. The content calendar is essentially your editorial calendar. Actually, we thought that if we start everything from scratch, the most important thing is really your editorial calendar, where you'll find all your posts. So everything needs to be built around that. There shouldn't be other things interfering and taking you into another realm. No. Most importantly, it's really your editorial calendar. And in the end, everything is built around that. So here on my side, you can see that I have different types of editorial calendars or content calendars that are connected. I did this on purpose so you can see the different statuses. By the way, if you hover the mouse over it long enough, you'll always get a little explanation just in case. But basically, this is my list of databases connected with Scheduled. So my Notion database, essentially. So each content calendar is linked to its own Notion database. Here, this content calendar is active. What does that mean? It means that every 2 hours, it fetches the posts and everything is running smoothly. This one has been disconnected. This could be due to a change in the database, such as modifications to the properties required for synchronization or the database being moved. Here, this one has been paused. Today, you can do something you couldn't do before. You can pause databases. If you no longer need to use Scheduled for certain databases, you can also delete them, and we'll look at that together. Here I'll get to this one right after the last one. In fact, it's just a draft database. For example, here, I can create an entirely new database. So, this is a database that is not yet connected, not yet configured. This is typically the process you'll go through when you add a new database here. You'll click here, and it will create a content calendar that you will need to configure. We've made a video specifically to show you the first steps on how to configure it, but now everything happens in the tab. Configuration that you have here is where you'll be able to connect your Notion database. You'll then connect your various social accounts like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So this is really where you'll be able to add different connections. As I was saying, everything is really centralized around the editorial calendar. So that's pretty cool. This means that if you want to find the connections linked to your database, you'll see them directly here. And there are other steps that allow you to go further in the configuration, like setting a default publication date and a default publication time. So that's very practical. I won't say more to show you the rest. Here you'll be able to, well, this is also a big change we've made, configure the stats. So what we said is that before, in the previous version, you had the sources that corresponded to the calendar you had to schedule your content. Then you had the reports. So it was really to fetch stats from LinkedIn profiles, pages, etc. And today, as we will allow fetching stats not only from LinkedIn, but also from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., this part will actually enable you to do that based on the accounts you have connected. So, for the social networks you add here, you'll be able to directly specify which network and connection you want to retrieve stats from. Let me show you, for example, with my other connected database. It's quite responsive. Compared to before, it's faster. So here, you see I have several connections, even test connections, but you see Facebook, Twitter, etc. And here, as I was saying, this is where everything will happen. That means you will be able to activate and view stats for your pages, etc. So today, it's only on LinkedIn, but as I mentioned, this app's evolution will allow for future updates and new features. So here you'll also be able to connect stats for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And then the last tab is widgets. These are the big bonuses with Scheduled to make you fully autonomous on Notion. So here we'll add some small tutorials on the right here too. If you're wondering how to do it because it seems a bit technical, it's actually very simple. You just need to get the different links you have here and integrate them into Notion so that, for example, when you have this dashboard here, you can have this mini dashboard displayed directly in your Notion without having to go back to Scheduled every time to see how your stats are evolving. The button that allows you to schedule your posts directly in Notion is quite practical. So you click because, as I mentioned, Scheduled updates every 2 hours, but if you want to schedule a post immediately, this button is magical. I use it all the time now, and the webhook is an alternative to the button. It's brief, I'll put a short video here, but it's the same for, basically, this button here, which will be quite central. That means it will be, for example, above the database. And when you click, it will schedule all the posts you've made. This one. You can integrate it directly into the page, basically into your post as a property, thanks to the webhook, a new Notion feature for scheduling. So when you click on it, it will always schedule all the posts. Basically, Scheduled won't differentiate by taking just this one. It will take everything that's ready to be scheduled. But in any case, you'll be able to do it from your post's perspective. As soon as your post is ready, you click on it and off it goes. So that's pretty cool. As I mentioned, you can delete calendars. For example, here, we are going to delete this one and the last one. The last calendar, let's say a type of calendar that you can see here, is this one. So this is a type that you might have on your own account. So this is a calendar we've put in what we call legacy mode. Basically, it's no longer up to date. Why? Because it's tied to the first version. In the first version, what we didn't do well was that there were sources on one side for publishing your content and sources on the other side for retrieving stats. So what we recommended, and ultimately it wasn't a good recommendation, was for people to use 2 different databases, one for publishing and one for retrieving stats. But in the end, it's the same data. They are posts. So why have 2 different databases? I always wonder why I made that choice. But basically, the idea here is that we created a default calendar to support the reporting system from before. So if I click here, what does it mean? It means that before, I had a reporting system with a different database just to retrieve the reports from the scheduled page. So the idea is that this famous database has become a content calendar, but in legacy mode, meaning it exists just to keep these metrics running without cutting everything off. You can explore all this with a much more detailed tutorial, but the idea is that all these somewhat dependent versions from before will be phased out in 2 or 3 months. We're going to clean things up. So the goal is for you to migrate this because it will also improve your usage, migrating all of this to your main database where you publish and track your stats. For example, my job here is to migrate all these stats to my personal LinkedIn post. Quite simply, it's very easy. You'll go into the settings as I showed you. You'll go here. You see you can already see the stats paused for now, and you just need to activate it. Scheduled will do the work of updating your database with the correct properties to retrieve stats, impressions, reactions, etc. So your entire database will actually be updated with the correct properties to look exactly like the database you had before, which was collecting the stats. And as a result, all the stats will be transferred to the new one you've connected. Once that's done and you've confirmed that everything is okay on Notion, you can go ahead and delete this database here. So here, I no longer see the button to add it. But in any case, you will be able to delete this database or just leave it as is, and we will take care of it at some point to clean things up, as I mentioned. So basically, the main thing is to really understand this mode of operation now, which is really dedicated to the content calendar, your editorial calendar, and here you will have access to different accounts. For example, on my account where I am the owner. If you are invited or you have invited clients, you won't see other clients here. But I work with Bélangère, and she invited me to her workspace. So here I can see that I am a member of her workspace. This allows me to connect my LinkedIn profile. This allows you to manage it on another workspace. Last thing regarding the settings, so you can change that. It's nothing new. You can change your account name, your profile, your email, your password. You can change that too. And here, regarding integrations, this is where you manage different connections, for example with Notion, to grant different accesses. If you've added a new database that Scheduled can't find, this is also where you update it, even though you can do it elsewhere. But here you can do it as well. And the little new feature coming with the Canva integration, that's going to be great too. You still have the Help Center, which we will obviously update. A lot of things. So it will come gradually. Don't hesitate to contact us if you notice that some things are still not up to date or if you can't find something and have questions. We've changed a lot of things. It's been 8 weeks of work, and there have been many changes. There might still be a few hiccups, so I hope you'll be understanding about that, but we'll do everything to keep making this new version as robust and simple as possible to save you even more time. And of course, it will accommodate all the upcoming features. With Canva integration, video improvements, you'll be able to use external videos, reporting for Facebook, Twitter, as I mentioned, Instagram, and even other platforms like TikTok or YouTube. With this version, that's what's great. We'll be able to add lots of things that will save you time in your content creation. The goal is always to make things simple to save you time. That's it. I've said everything. I hope I was able to explain the essentials in broad strokes. Anyway, if you have any questions, you can contact us via chat as always or by email. Bye.